In 1894, a dentist was on a mission to solve a mystery that puzzled professionals for a while. Why were people's teeth becoming so crooked? Dr. Weston A. Price set off on a 10-year journey, traveling to 14 different countries in search of people who naturally had excellent teeth. He discovered something strange. How could crooked teeth be genetic when several parents with perfectly straight teeth had one child with very crooked teeth, but another child with straight teeth?
Absolutely amazing point. So much of medical literature is a fallacy and very easily basically debunked by such a so simple rationale.
Also, having straight teeth seemed to generally mean that the rest of the face was more attractive. So what made the difference? We'll get to that soon, but interest in plant-based diets has exploded recently.
Meat sales fell by 184 million quid. This is due to the rise in veganism.
With the number of American vegans and vegetarians going from 2.6 million in 1994 to 19.8 million in 2020.
Starting today, ready or not, you are a vegan.
Vegan Fridays.
Veganuary.
I'm vegan now.
Reduce red meat specifically.
Yes.
But will cutting animal foods...
Kamala. I am a recovering vegan. I did raw vegan, whole food, plant-based diet. I followed the Daily Dozen religiously, including even the fungi. I mean, there was no food category that I wasn't consuming within those realms. The plant, seed, and fungi realm. I mean, I was told that this would be the best way. I would finally fix my symptoms, my OCD, my ADD, my bipolar, my mood swings, but I only found that those exacerbated in a lot of ways, and I actually wanted to end my life all of the time during that period.
Our diet really improve health?
A plant-based burger for you?
You really have to focus on the plant-based diet.
Public schools in Brooklyn, we will be instituting Meatless Monday.
When I finally went and did an IgG food tolerance test, I realized that I was intolerant to potatoes, to carrots, to a whole bunch of fruits. I mean, the only two categories of food from all like grains and seeds and legumes and nuts and fruits and potatoes and I mean tubers. The only category that were all green, meaning I had no antibodies against, were meat and fish. Even eggs and dairy I was intolerant to.
Base at Bellevue Hospital.
I mean, having eaten a lot of, non-pastured eggs and having consumed a lot of cheap supermarket milk that is highly cooked.
Eating zero animal foods improves health so much. Why would a 2016 study find that 84% of vegans eventually quit their diet?
The actor was vegan for almost 4 years, but started feeling lethargic in February of...
You were a vegan for a while, right?
To be honest, a lot of carnivore people also quit their diet because they are doing it in a not so effective way. I mean, before I learned about it, I used to watch one or other video about Jordan Peterson, and I was like, I mean, this guy is an emotional wreck. I don't want to be like that. He was a not so great spokesperson for an amazing thing.
A couple of years. When did you stop doing that? No, not too long ago.
I mean, the guy speaks of having huge cravings. I mean, he cannot be doing it right.
For a very long time, and I've had to introduce fish.
Even vegan influencers weren't able to make it work.
Me and my family have struggled with health on a vegan diet.
I am no longer
trying to be vegan in a cold place. Good luck.
Following a vegan diet.
I found it very difficult to maintain a healthy plant-based diet.
I'm not vegan anymore.
In this longer
wants advice on how to produce a healthy baby and make sure that it will have good teeth.
paleo.
I mean, any human, whether the mother or the father, wants their kids to be extremely well developed, very beautiful, because we instinctively know that is how people give credit for us in life. That's how we have success in finding a mate that also has amazing genetics.
Anthropologist Daniel Lieberman explains in his book The Evolution of the Human Head that jaws and faces do not grow to the same size that they used to. For a very long time, it was the norm for humans to have large skulls and quite broad mouths. When the mouth, the dental arch, is too small, there's not enough room for the teeth to come in, so they crowd together and become crooked.
And like they mentioned before, if your teeth are crooked, you also don't look as good. Case in point. Teeth become basically without space. They need to basically be on top of each other because there is no room. Your center line might even go out of the middle, like it was my case. The only thing I and many of you can do now that we are out of our growing phase, I mean, I'm already over the 25, and I mean, ideally you would grow until you're 18, 21 at the most. So yeah, what else can I do? Even if I have an amazing diet from now on, it's not like my face will grow sideways. So what I have found is we can remove the last big teeth and then push everything else backwards. It's the only thing that I've found out so far. And even doing so, one might even be able to push the bottom maxilla forward, the jaw becoming a nicer visually, because you see this as a pretty different scenario.
The teeth are forming in the baby's jaw long before it is born.
Based on studies from 2009 to 2019, the prevalence of children developing crooked teeth today is 53% in America, 56% worldwide, and 72% in Europe.
Great.
So the question becomes, why would the dental arch grow big enough for this brother, but not for this brother? That's where Weston Price comes in. Totally new processed foodstuffs like refined grains, sugar, and vegetable oil were spreading, and these people living in remote areas were finally getting access to them. He found a clear pattern. Those living on the traditional...
This is the only book you should ever read. I mean, you can read Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter for fun, but as a should, it's a documentary basically on the effects of what you eat every single day, what you put in your mouth, but also the rest of the things that you consume. These people, these Aborigines, these Indians typically get a lot of sun. They are a lot of outside. They don't use deodorants. They don't use fragrances. They for sure are not using clothes made from PFAS or whatever forever chemicals. What we consume on a daily basis, whether through our mouth or through our skin or the rest of our body, has a total direct relationship not only with our physicality, as in what we think as mobility and the good looks, but also the other part of physical health, which is mental and emotional health, because they're one and the same actually.
Diet were in good health, had broad dental arches, straight teeth, and very few cavities.
You have to understand when he talks about traditional diet, this means non-modern. What happened in the more modern recent years is medical advice showed up. Doctors started telling people what to eat, and people stopped trusting their own instincts. If you put yourself as a 2-year-old in the middle of the wilderness, you are not yet brainwashed, nobody, you still don't understand language, so you have not yet been able to have this slave idea of what's good and what's not good for you. You just trust your senses, like a dog, like an untamed, uneducated dog. If you enjoy the smell, you put it in your mouth. If you enjoy the taste, you eat it. If you don't even like the smell, you don't even get close. So naturally, because you also wouldn't be cooking, that's not an instinctive thing to do, that's just a part of the human consequential rationale. If you go to the middle of the wilderness, basically just trusting your senses, your the things that you feel like doing without forcing yourself because of these beliefs. You might try some leaves, very, very bitter, I don't like this. You might try some tubers, kind of terrible, but I mean, it's decent, I mean, it's acceptable somehow. Then you might try some fruits if it's the autumn, because it's only when they are natural occurring, or honey even. But outside of the autumn, you wouldn't find nor honey nor fruit. And then you might stumble upon some eggs, and you might try the clear, and you find it kind of weird in the mouth and not very, you don't feel very full nutritiously. But then you have the yolk, and it's amazing, and you want more and more and more, but eggs are kind of scarce, and you only find them once in a while. What you can do is get the bird, and once you try bird meat, raw as it's natural occurring, you love it. And then if you can get yourself some red meat, oh my god, like for example some ostrich, amazing. And then if you go for a fatty red meat animal, some fatty mammal or whatever, it's even more amazing. And you have to understand, all of those are wild fed if you are in the middle of the wilderness. In our society, the only thing we have comparable to that, as in commercially, is ruminant meats, because they have 4 compartments in their stomach. They puke, they munch again, yeah, so it's very filtered out. Their diet, meaning their tissues become extremely clean, although their organs like the liver and whatnot might not be all that ideal still to consume, or even the marrow. I wouldn't recommend you do so. But yeah, traditional diets is people who do what they feel like. If you put them Reese's peanut butter cup and some meat, maybe they're just gonna eat the Reese's peanut butter cup because it messes up with your senses and you feel like eating 300 peanut butter cups in a row. But only from natural foods, meaning meat, eggs. I mean, you would have dairy only as a baby, so forget about it. You already had your share. If you did, and if you didn't, I mean, how old are you? If you're past 6, I mean, don't even think about it. And now, in the autumn, you have, I mean, it's already over, but you add the honey and the fruits. So basically, meat, eggs, and natural occurring sweets. 3 foods that nature provides you. If you had the option to eat meat or eggs, you would never, I mean, I'm talking about year round, because you can't really think about eating fruit and honey on a daily year round. You can't think about it naturally. Yeah, it's like, do you want a tuber instead or in addition to meat and eggs? Of course you don't. Who would? Natural occurring tubers in the wilderness are horrible. Our domesticated sweet potatoes are kind of pleasant. White potatoes have solanine and nicotine, that's why they are addictive. They have lectins and oxalates and phytates. Also, they make it addictive because they rob nutrients from you, and now you need more nutrients, so you need to eat more. Yeah, it's like a vicious cycle. You eat, it robs you of nutrients. It's like drinking a lot of water, tap water. It partially hydrates you, but it mostly dehydrates you, so you feel like drinking more. So yeah, the only real healthy, ideal food for humans that is available nowadays commercially is fatty red meat from ruminants. if you are a hunter, then you can get whatever animal, as long as they have been able to be in a sort of closed off from the civilization place, meaning they eat a very natural diet. So yeah, I mean, if you live in a city, you don't hunt, just buy some fatty burger patties from the freezer in the supermarket and eat them, even frozen. Just chop them up in pieces every single day and drink some mineral water from a spring or something equivalent. I mean, you'll feel amazing. And at least you won't have problems with histamine, which a lot of people do on carnivore. A lot of people are missing connective tissue, collagen in carnivore. You won't miss those with ground beef, with the burger patties. I mean, you won't miss fat because burger patties usually have 15% or 20% fat. You won't miss the protein either. You will never get into thermogenesis because you have both together. You would only get there if you ate too much protein without the rest together. So yeah, it's a perfect product that fixes all issues on carnivore and fixes basically all ailments that anybody might have.
However, other groups in the same area who started eating these new modern foods.
To be honest, in even hunter societies, you have more good-looking men. I'm talking about men because it's what I have observed in videos, and some others that are less well developed. And you can already see who has the priority, who has been fed more meat and who has been fed less. And nowadays, most tribes, even the tribes that are hunter-gatherers or whatever, they cook their meats. I don't have a clue why. And yeah, I mean, if you cook it 5%, 5% nutrition goes to the trash. If you cook it 50%, 50% of the nutrition goes to the trash. We are talking about destroying 50% of the protein, but most importantly, the micronutrients. Fat-soluble vitamins are degenerated. The water-soluble vitamins are mostly gone. So the B vitamins, can forget about those. That's why vegans put it in our face that, oh, you are eating meat, but you are B12 deficient. Of course, it has nothing to do with the cows or whatever. It has to do with you overcooking your meat. And also, you have to understand that, for example, the creatine is converted into creatinine, which is basically useful for our body. Which means that bodybuilders are not stupid, are not like being redundant when they eat meat and then take creatine or taurine or whatever. They need that because they didn't get it from the meat, the red meat, the fatty red meat, the fatty beef, for example, in the first place. It's because they overcooked it. If they ate it raw, they would have gotten all of those in the beginning. So no need to supplement. And I mean, the supplements are, some work, some don't. It depends on how they are made. Because from what I heard, many of them are just basically synthetic, meaning your body half recognizes it but can't really use it as the main vitamin or mineral or compound.
Developed crooked teeth and had 5 to more than 30 times the cavities of their counterparts despite sharing similar genetics.
You see, people in the looks marketing community, oh, it's all about genetics, I don't have good genetics. All these kids look worse than their siblings. Why? Because poor nutrition. And the teeth is one, like the face, like the jaw, are different mirrors of a poor nutrition. I didn't have a good nutrition when I was growing up, so my face never broadened up enough. My height was capped because of it. So I mean, if you're still under 18, under 21, under 25, my God, get your hands on like the burger patties I was telling you. Eat as many as you can every single day, as many you feel like. Don't force yourself to. And if you like some eggs and you tolerate them and you can get high quality ones, why not? Eat the yolk, sure. I mean, other than that, you might just destroy yourself, really. I mean, if you're like 1.5 meters, you're like 5'2" or something. I don't know the translation to imperial, and you're already on 18 years old, and you're a guy. Man, get yourself some raw milk. I want you to grow up to be at least 170, 180 quickly. So yeah, hop on that raw milk. But other than that, I wouldn't dive into that, because when you take dairy, it has MCT fats. MCT fats arouse you. Because you're aroused, you're going to have more sex or masturbate more. Basically, you will end up ejaculating or coming more. By coming more, you, either as a woman or as a man, your sexual dimorphism reduces, meaning as a man you start becoming more feminine, as a woman you start becoming more masculine. If you force that process, as in you have too much sex, you have too much masturbation or whatever, as a woman you will start looking at other women attractively. You as a man, you'll start looking at other men attractively. If you force that process further, you will end up living that lifestyle. And further, you will start pondering, am I really a boy? And the girl might ponder, am I really a girl? And if you force that process further, you go into a butcher, which is what it is, and you say, oh, can you remove my organ that nature provided me with, that my mother worked 9 months feeding me for? Oh, sure, I'll just give me 5 grand or 50 grand, I have no clue, and I'll swap your gender. So yeah, dairy is for sure not ideal, but as an SOS, I would actually recommend it, but do it. I mean, try to have copious amounts, like for 6 months, instead of like consuming it every single day in small quantities. Even small quantities, even just having some butter which doesn't even have lactose, and possibly doesn't even is recognized as casein in the body, it will still arouse because of the MCT fats. So yeah, make sure you grow as quickly as possible. If you're in like the almost 18 years old, like something you're in the ender stages of growing up. But if you have time to grow, you're 14, just eat some raw, fatty burger patties, ground beef from frozen ideally. You can cook it a little bit, sear it at the most. I mean, just put the searing in the trash before you eat the actual inner piece.
Dr. Price wasn't just saying that sugar, processed grains, or vegetable fats were evil, but that they were displacing far more nutritious foods.
The thing is, it is true that if you eat crap, you are displacing the actual natural foods. But, I mean, eating, for example, pastries, lasagna, whatever, you have to understand that pastries, everything that has flour and seed oils, basically has glyphosate, and the seed oil toxins. So you basically grab the two biggest villains in nutrition history that are still available, I'm talking about, and you combine them. I mean, it can only damage you greatly. But it's also true that, I mean, if you eat some whatever crap foods, then you're not eating the real deal, but you might not have money for it. So, can you only afford eggs? Eat a lot of eggs, a lot of them. If it's crap eggs, cook them. If it's pasture raised, which is still pretty cheap, which is ideal, eat the raw, just the yolk. A lot of them, every single day. You cannot get your hands on meat that isn't chicken, because chicken is kind of cheap. Don't bother with chicken. Eat some wild fish. Something like egg medallions is very cheap. And I mean, if you eat it mostly raw or just put it a little bit in the air fryer, it's very pleasant, but you need to add some fat to it. So go on Amazon and buy some, for example, some tallow. This is an example. Can you not order on Amazon, but your family produces cheese or whatever? I mean, I'd rather you eat cheese for the rest of your life, which is terrible, because, I mean, I even know a shepherd who tried to hop on me because, I mean, it showcases what I was talking about. I mean, he has a family, daughter and the kid and the tall guy, because they always consumed a lot of it. But he's so horny that his wife doesn't cut it for him, and he wants some boys. So yeah, be careful with dairy. I don't tell me I didn't told you so. So yeah, I mean, ideally you just eat fatty red meat from a wild fed animal, and commercially some ruminant. I just like I was telling you, besides drinking mineral water from a spring, which I actually buy in a PET bottle, you can go grab it there if you can, and eating straight from frozen ground beef burger patties that are like 85-15 or 80-20. I mean, that's my diet, that's just that, and I feel amazing, and I have everything in remission that I used to have. So yeah, I would recommend you go somewhere in that place, and if you can get some clean organs, ones that you put it in your nose and you like the smell, so that you feel like putting in your mouth and you like the taste, so you eat them. Sure, if you don't like the smell of your delivery you just bought or whatever, don't freaking eat it. It's toxic. No dog would eat it. Trust your senses above all else. Surround yourself with natural foods, meat, eggs, and in the autumn you can, and when I say meat I include the sea meat, fish, and in the autumn sure, some honey, some fruit, okay. But always be attentive on how you might have developed some intolerances to the eggs. I never eat eggs because of that. I might eat some fish once in a while, but never eggs, because I know I don't feel great on it. I have antibodies. My body attacks itself whenever I eat the best egg in the world, the most natural one. Doesn't matter. If I get some organic fruit, if it's a papaya, I feel kind of okay because I tolerate it, as an example. If I eat, for example, an orange, I feel uneasy because I have, it's in bright red, it's a lot of antibodies. You have to understand that if your diet, I mean, this isn't available in nature. This isn't either. I mean, if your diet is not something that you would find in nature, in the wilderness, you cannot call it a natural diet. You should eat more naturally. Sure, foods that are naturally occurring in the wilderness. And then just trust your senses. That's it. That's why I say it's the only book that you should read, Weston Price, because it's not an opinion on nutrition. It's actually a documentation of the effects of modern fake nutrition, eating glyphosate filled grains, eating fake vegetables, eating fake fruits, eating seed oils and whatnot. This is not an opinion, this is a fact. It's just telling you the effects it has been having on everybody, from Europeans to Americans to worldwide to Aborigines. If you want, go check this video for more details on how the ancient Indians have found ways to actually maintain a more natural diet. They, for example, they save leftover meat and they dry it out. I mean, it's not ideal, you just lost all of the water soluble vitamins, but it's still 100 times better than what everybody is doing. You might turn up a skin and put the blood inside and you drink it for hydration. 10 times better than the water that most people drink. I mean, if you go in a more Tarzan kind of way, if you're going more like I live in a jungle, I'm Bear Grylls, and of course you trust your senses, as in, I mean, eggs or fish or meat is 10 times better than some tubers or some leaves. I mean, naturally you wouldn't eat leaves because you have to eat a ton of them to have some sort of nutrition, and even then our bodies are not adapted to do so. We are not herbivores. Thanks for watching.